Welcome back. Readings. So here we are today. And this noise that you hear is my cat Emily. She's saying hello. She'll probably be with us during this experience. So I'm just going to take a moment to rest here before I get started. There are a lot of things that have happened over the past few weeks. Probably very little of that I'm going to share here via the video, at least. Typically, these readings are simply just that they're just readings, and I'm not overly comfortable getting into a lot of private matters via this venue. So, yeah, that aside, things have been really busy. A lot of stuff in the works. If you are familiar with this channel, you also know that I've been working and doing some podcasts and uploaded one of those not long ago. If all goes well, I plan to be recording the next one in that series tomorrow. So we'll see how that turns out. Also, I will mention on the note of intuition with this reading, another part of the message that came through was that I was supposed to use dice with the first half of this reading, so hopefully I'll remember to take care of that. I wasn't given any specific instructions about how the dice were to be used, so as I've done in previous videos, I'm just going to play it by ear. Now, for this first reading, it's for a guy named Shadow, and he actually runs a group that I joined recently on Facebook. It's a pagan group. So, just wanted to clear that out. If I can remember, I will add a link to the group in the description. And the second reading will be for a friend of mine named Aaron. So, yeah, there's that. And there again, it has been a while since I've done any of these readings, so I'm using my notebook here to make sure that I don't miss any of the steps involved. Shadow actually recently posted a video about doing tarot card readings, and that was part of the prompt for doing this reading today. As I said earlier, these are oracle cards. There's a difference between oracle cards and tarot cards, at least in my opinion. Typically, reading with oracle cards, it's just a different approach. I think it's a little more intuitive. It relies less heavily on using the book to tell you what the card means. There's just less structure in oracle card decks a lot of times than there is in a traditional tarot card deck. These cards were gifted to me by a friend a long time ago, and I never really... Evidently this card is significant, so we're going to lay it out, although it's preemptive. Never really worked with tarot cards a whole lot, and it just seemed to be a very restrictive type of system to me, and so I'm very fond of these cards. This is the Heart of Fairy Oracle deck. So, really beautiful cards. Let me set that up there so it's on the way. One of the things that Shadow mentioned in his video, I think the way he put it was, the more that you do your readings, the more your cards will speak to you. So I want to speak to that, but I'm not exactly sure what I want to say. Typically, when I'm drawn to do a reading for someone, there's an intuitive message that comes through. I don't necessarily think that it comes from the cards. I'm not going to put a name on the source, though. Um, Having said that, I do think the cards themselves have a resonance and they have an energy. But I feel like a lot of the intuition that I get when I'm doing my readings comes from some outside source. I view the cards more as a medium, but that doesn't mean that they don't have their own energy and purpose. So, yeah. Another thing I will mention, there was a question posed in the chat during his video. He had mentioned something about cards being reversed, and he says sometimes in the deck itself the cards will flip themselves. And I mean, I have found in my own experience doing my readings that sometimes the cards are reversed. There again, for me, I think the most important thing on that note, the way I interpret it, sometimes a reverse card will have sort of a reversed or an alternate meaning. It just depends. I have read, and the card comes up reversed, and when the intuitive message comes through, it's basically saying don't pay overly much attention to the reverse nature of this card. That's not what this is about. This is just saying look at it from a different way. That doesn't necessarily mean the opposite, of a meaning or something like that. So for me, there's a lot of variation with how it comes through and how things play out. I think that's enough of my rambling for the moment. So let me get to what needs to be done. I'm going to start off by taking a moment here to ground myself and my energies. Okay. Okay, give me a moment here to connect my energies to the cards and to connect Shadow's energies to the cards. I'm already beginning to feel a lot of energy in the room and in the cards. It feels not necessarily alive or energetic, but condensed. I would almost say sort of mechanical, but not necessarily in a bad way. Alright, I'm going to shuffle the cards here. Okay. One of the things that Shadow went through in his video was different types of spreads used in reading tarot cards. I am using a 5-card spread that I picked up. Someone on YouTube, I don't remember who it was now, was showing some spreads, and I really liked her idea. So I made sort of a modification of that and adopted it as my own. Um, if you go back to my earlier videos, you'll find that I did remember at that time to credit whoever that was, and I left a link to her page. So if you're interested, you can source back to that. And in my readings and the spread that I use, this first card I call your status card. It's simply where you are at the moment. Um, your second card here is your challenge card. It could represent, an internal emotional difficulty or some type of problem outside in the world. It's just simply some type of obstacle going on that is interfering with you reaching a place where you're achieving your full potential. Your third card is your tool card. Basically, it's your opportunity, to overcome or try to work through this challenge. Your tool card is the method. It's the approach that you can take to move forward. Your fourth card is your potential outcome card, and I like to use quotations when I say that with potential because I do think in every situation there's potential to succeed and move forward or to fall backwards. It all depends on a person's intent, what they're willing to do, how much effort they're willing to invest, and all that. And the fifth card is a personal card. And when I turn it over and show it to the cam, the point of this card is that beyond the intuition that comes through to me, there will be something in this card that speaks directly to you. And normally I will offer to send a photograph of this card if you have difficulty seeing it through the cam. The webcam that I'm using is about 10 years old, hence the poor quality of picture and everything for this recording, but right now it's all the equipment that I have. So, having said all that, the cards are laid. Also, I need to remember this other card. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. We'll get to that. So, and I need to remember these dots. Okay. Okay. Your status card here is the Lady of the Forest. This is a pretty decent status card. I'm not sensing negative vibrations from it. I'm getting a very strong intuitive message of peace and tranquility, being grounded, just of ease and connection. The connection part is coming through more so loudly now, the way the hair is in this figure. Definitely, as I said, grounding and peace. There's a lot of roots and connection via nature. Though there again, this is speaking more to community. It could be referencing the group on Facebook. Being in a very centered place of balance. Yeah, all in all, it's a very positive beginning card here. The Lady of the Forest. So, not a bad start. Wow. That's an interesting coincidence. Hmm. Okay. Your challenge card here is the Lord of the Forest. I've never had two cards show up like that. I mean, interconnected, Lady and Lord, or so. This is unique. Definitely, there's a very strong voice coming through that's talking about a desire for dominion or control. Um, and it's not clear to me if this is an internal issue that you're having. That's not necessarily coming through. What's coming through more so is like a power struggle. It's an imbalance. I sense envy and instability. As I said, a struggle for dominion, a struggle for control. Yeah, there's also a part of this intuitive message that's coming through is sort of an obsession. This is something that's been going on long term, like for a while. This isn't new or random. So this is a part of your past. Yeah, I do get a weighted, heavy. The more that I look at this card, and the more that the messages come through, this is it's not necessarily very good, and it is about envy. You maybe could say jealousy, but it's about focus and some type of struggle for power or dominion. Um, Also coming through with this card, there may be some spiritual elements involved. Um, Now I'm getting cold chills. Give me a second here. Part of that intuitive message that's coming through is that magic is in fact involved in this card, and it may very well involve someone using magic against you for some reason in some way. Not necessarily as a curse or something super harmful, but magic is playing a role here in spirit. Wow, a lot of energy in that card. I'll show it to you, but I've got to put it down. As I said, the Lord of the Forest. Yeah, I don't want to hold on to that. Okay. Card's not ready yet. Hmm. Okay. Your tool card here is the Queen of the Day. and it is reversed. And I'm getting the intuitive message that's coming through with this card is that the reverse nature of this card is important. Part of the message that's coming through very loudly here is the fact that this figure in this card is illuminated and is standing out in sort of a frenzy of to some degree chaos, but also just a very populated background of attention. This figure in this card is to some degree sort of like the Cinderella, Snow White fairy tale figure. It's about being in the limelight and sort of standing out in that way. The message that's coming through with this card, the nature of it being reversed, is talking about attempting to practice humility, um, going back to basics, not necessarily diminishing your own light or character, but being careful that you don't fall into this role of being, sort of a superstar, quote unquote, because there's a danger there of that perpetuating all this negativity here in this challenge card. Part of what's coming through now is that this is how you're being viewed by this individual, whoever this is. Yeah, another part of this coming through now is about it's about fluidity. It goes back to this first card with being grounded and being centered. Simply being who you are and doing what you do with the best possible intentions, and just being in that space, letting it be what it is. Yeah. Also, another part that's coming through with this card is that some of these outside sources are trying to push you into that spotlight. Um, so there's some interference. Therein, this card being reversed, it's saying, do your best to ignore that. Understand that you can share your wisdom and your knowledge without fulfilling that role for other people if they're trying to put you in that box. So yeah, a lot of complicated messages coming through with that tool card. As I said earlier, there is a strong feeling of energy with this reading, and I'm still getting that strong message and feeling of spirit, spirit being involved in some way. So let's see what the next card has to say. Card's not ready yet. Hmm. Okay. So your potential outcome card or resolution card here is the Queen of Night, and it is reversed. The intuitive message that's coming through here is that the reverse nature of the card is important. Basically, this card here is saying, with it being reversed, that there's a potential for you to reach a place where you're stepping aside from these illusions. You're allowing that inner light and your true self to shine. This is a reversal of shadow. There is negativity in this card, but there again, it's reversed, and so the card itself is speaking to the fact that you have the potential to rise above these shadows. Yeah. Also, there's, I mean, this harkens back to the last statement, but it's about when and or if you get to this place where you're using this tool card in the right way, it's almost going to be a sort of confusion. It's like casting darkness back on itself. You will, in a sense, blind whoever this is with this challenge card. You're going to give them, not necessarily you, but the universe or the situation will extend that negativity back to them. It's going to create a dissonance and some chaos that's going to remove you from their scope, their attention. So all in all, a really positive outcome card here. As I said, the Queen of Night reversed. Okay. All right, your personal card here is the Returning. Okay. The intuitive message that's coming through here speaks to the name of the card itself in returning to a place where you're focused on your own path and you're actually moving forward. One of the elements of this card is the fact that this woman is holding the horn of a unicorn, which has the spiral, and it's suggesting part of this intuitive message that's coming through is suggestive of that rising, both rising of spirit and of power and of knowledge and of wisdom. Still, there's a sort of shadowy figure at the bottom of this card, but the intuitive message that's coming through is that you've risen above that. Here is Emily. You have to sit, be still. She says hello. So yeah, as I was saying, the intuitive message that's coming through is that this is all about moving forward, making progress. 2, there are wings in this card. My attention is drawn to those, and part of that intuitive message that's coming through further reinstates that sensation of flying, of moving forward, of being free from these restraints that were mentioned via your challenge card. Oops. So yeah, all in all, I think a very positive personal card. And as I said earlier, if you have difficulty seeing this card, let me know. I can't reach but so far because Emily is impeding our process here, but yeah, look very carefully at this card. There will be something in this image that speaks directly to you on an intuitive level. There again, if you have trouble seeing the image, send me a message, let me know. I'll send you a photograph of it so that you can see it clearly. So a pretty positive personal card. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's see what this mystery card has to say. Right now it's saying that it's not ready. Hmm. The mystery card here is the gift, and it is also reversed. A big part of the intuitive message that's coming through here with this card is about duality. It's about balance. As I said earlier, it's about finding the center. There's an androgynous character to this card. This figure is obviously a woman, but she's wearing a masculine mask with horns. Another part of the intuitive message coming through with this card is the importance of grounding, of being centered, um, finding value in that and practicing that. Okay, go, go, go. Go on. Another part of the intuition coming through with this card, it is sort of a schism type thing. The message is sort of half and half one way and half another way. It's talking about sometimes there is an importance and a meaning to a level of personal privacy and secrecy. Um, it's about holding some things back that speaks to the mask in this card. At the same time, not being false, not withholding something for a harmful reason or, to promote negativity necessarily. This is all about some degree protecting the self, while at the same time allowing yourself that ability to be fluid, to be more than one thing, to be more than one person, to have a varied persona. So yeah, yet again, another card with a complicated message. And as this doesn't fit in the normal spread, I can't speak to how it will affect your whole entire reading. Like I said, the gift. I'll show you the card. So overall, I think this was a fairly positive reading. Before I do an overview, though, as I mentioned earlier, I was told that I was supposed to use these dice. So I'm going to take a moment. Okay, I'm going to roll these dice. This first roll will determine how many digits are in this number that you need to receive. Only one. And your number is one. I imagine that you probably can't see that well via the cam, but yeah. I wasn't given any direction about how the number will be significant to you. My advice therein is simply be attentive to, you know, your everyday life, and when that number appears, if you get an intuitive feeling of, oh, there's some significance there, then follow it, sort of like, you know, breadcrumbs or something like that. Let it, quote unquote, lead you down the rabbit hole, and just be attentive to what pops up, because I personally believe in synchronicity, and I think sometimes there are signs and messages out there if we're willing to look and see and perceive. So yeah, as I was saying earlier, all in all, not a bad reading. I think your status card here is a really good place. This challenge card is concerning to me, simply because, as I said, this involves another person, and there is some magic there going on to some degree, and spirit, there's energy. This is a serious thing to be concerned about, at least to be aware of and to be attentive to. Um, Having said that, your tool card was very clear. You know, it's all about being grounded, focusing on the self, being attentive as far as not trying to project some sort of persona, or allow yourself to be pushed by outside sources into a spotlight. And as I said with your outcome card, you will reach a place where your own light reflects back those shadows and that negativity. So there's a lot of potential there, and I think so too in your personal card. As I always say, if you have any further concerns or questions about your reading, certainly feel free to send me a message. I have no problem doing another reading or looking into the cards further as far as that goes. So yeah, I'm going to put these cards back in the deck and then take a moment before I jump into that next reading. Actually, no, that's supposed to go on the bottom. I'm just going to take a moment here to shuffle the cards and let some of that energy dissipate. Okay. All right. Allow the cards to settle there for a moment. And while we're resting, in unrelated news, for those of you who are familiar with the channel, you'll know that originally when I started posting most of my videos here on YouTube, they were based on writing, because writing was a big part of my life at that time. A lot has happened since those original videos, but I am pretty pleased to report that at this stage I'm working on a new story. It's going to be a short story, so I don't perceive that it's going to take an insane amount of time to get it finished and edited and put out there. Once it's done, I'll do a video about it here, and provide a link to those of you who would be interested in reading it. You'll be able to download it in whatever format you need. So that is definitely in the works, and that's been the primary focus of things recently. I've also considered in the near future doing posting some videos, doing some uploads of just me writing, working on the story. So that may be something. And I might simply do one single video just about this story itself. The inspiration, where and how I started, where the story is now, sort of where it's going and that sort of thing. There's no certainty on that, but it's been an idea. So. Okay, let me take a moment to further ground myself. Now we'll move on to this second reading. As I said earlier, this second reading is from my friend Aaron. All right. Take a moment here to connect my energies yet again to the cards and to connect Aaron's energies to the cards. Okay. As I said earlier, there's a lot of spirit and energy in these readings tonight for some reason. Okay. Hmm. Your status card here is the Queen of Shadows. It is reversed. The intuitive message coming through here is that the reverse nature of this card isn't relevant. Yeah, I don't get a great feeling from this card, admittedly. The intuitive message that's coming through is solely about shadow and darkness. There definitely is a spiritual component to the status card. Yeah, the message coming through here is very complicated and it's coming through very fast. Part of it is sort of personal. It's about, life experience and cultivated pluses and minuses, choices made. It's definitely very strong and very focused. There's a level of animosity in this card here. As I said, it's shadow, it's darkness. This is another one of those cards similar to the one in the last reading, involving, to some degree, involving magic. Therein in a negative way. This is a sort of focused resentment. I am getting that strong intuitive message coming through, something from the past, someone from the past. Yeah, yeah, I got to put that card down. Um, yeah. Okay. Normally, as you saw in the previous reading, I will show the images to the cam. I'm not going to show you that card because I feel like it would act as amplification for whatever's going on. So I'm not going to do that. Okay. All right. Hmm. This is one of those rare cards in this deck that isn't named. Okay. This is yet again another very complicated intuitive message coming through with this card. A part of this is similar to the other reading in that you as well are being pushed via outside sources and expectations. There's this expectation here coming through with this card of being in the limelight and portraying yourself with a certain role. In a sense, that expectation of being able to balance the world and take care of everyone and everything. And there is also a lot of malice in the background of this card. There's just these eyes. Part of it is I want to say innocent, but innocent isn't the right word. Part of it is unintentional. Some of the figures in this card are playing flutes, and They're just caught up in their own expectations of who you are and the services and the roles that you provide for people that you know. But there is also that continuing figure from the first card. There's that negativity. Someone is looking at you with that resentment and envy, and that's very strong. I mean, that presence is so close. It's giving me cold chills here as I'm looking at it and trying to read the card. So yeah, that is a big part of this challenge. Is simply that presence in that person. Yeah, I'm gonna put that down too. I think at this stage I've done maybe close to 50 or 60 of these readings, and this is the first time that I've ever had these particular kinds of energies come through in the cards like this. So you'll have to forgive me. It's a little unnerving. I try to practice a lot of light, and goodwill toward people, and I'm just not accustomed. I'm not accustomed to this at all. I think that's another reason why Emily is being persistent in making her presence known during this reading, to try to lend comfort, and add her own energies to everything. Hmm. All right. Your tool card here is the pan, and it is reversed. And the intuitive message that's coming through is that the reverse nature of this card is important. A big part of what this card is saying, well, this figure, the pan, sort of represents childhood and to some degree naivety. Um, that's not meant in a negative way. It's simply sometimes in our life we get so busy that we don't see things that are going on around us, and that is particularly what this card is speaking to. It's just a sort of not being aware of something, and that something is the negativity in these other cards. The message coming through with this card solely is be attentive. It's also talking about, to some degree, circling your wagons, protecting yourself, taking care of yourself, and being mindful of other people not being who they claim to be. That's also coming through very loudly here. This pan figure in this card is just flying around. He's very free, he's very trusting, he's trying to share his light with the world. But that's not what's going on in this circumstance. This card is really loudly saying caution, be cautious, be perceptive, and there again, protect yourself. Don't be so free with your time and energy, and be aware of those circumstances. Awareness is coming through very loudly. As I said, the pan. All right, I'm also, yeah, that was coming through also with this card, another level of the intuitive message. There's a rune in this card at the bottom, and even though this card is reversed, a part of this message is saying don't be unwilling to use untraditional approaches to keeping yourself safe, because a lot of what's going on here, it isn't about someone waiting in the bushes to jump out and attack you. A lot of this is spiritual in nature, and this rune is saying Be willing to practice something that might be considered unusual or odd, because those things will help you in this struggle that's going on right now. Okay. Give me a moment here. I'm still feeling cold chills. There's still a lot of energy in the room, in the space. Card's not ready yet. Wow. What a perfect um, outcome card, if there is such a thing. Your outcome card is the hero. And I get a very positive, uplifting feeling from this card, which is certainly welcome, considering the rest of the reading. The intuitive message coming through here is speaking very loudly of your own ability to overcome these circumstances. The figure in this card is wielding sword. Her strength is coming through with this card. Her capability to overcome challenges and difficulties and defend herself. Also, there is an owl in this card, which I take as a spiritual companion. This potential outcome card is saying if you use some of these tools to approach this problem, not only can you protect yourself, but you can sort of draw that line of saying no more. You know, definitely, this is a very positive resolution here. I get that impression, that intuitive message of being fortified, of being whole, protected and well. Your own inner strength coming through and coming out. Also, this figure is wearing a red shirt. That vitality comes through as well. Just that strength, the power of the blood, the power of will. So yeah, as I said, all in all, very positive. I'm also being told to mention here, this figure is wearing a belt, and there's some type of token or idol hanging from this belt, and it reinforces what I mentioned about the rune in your tool card, in that part of the path of reaching this potential outcome is by employing some of those elements of being open enough to extend your hand and say, I will give this a try because this is important. So definitely, I think that willingness is important here to reach this potential outcome card. As I said, it's called the Hero. Very fitting card. Wow. Okay. The personal card here is the Fairy of Youth. Hmm. Just like with your potential outcome card, I get a very positive feeling from this. Intuitive message that's coming through is all about growth. It's about finding wellness again, rejuvenation, moving forward on a positive note, on a positive level. Also, there's an important significance in this card in that the central figure is very illuminated compared to those figures in the background, some of whom seem sad and despondent. But this card in the figure, in the center, she's illuminated and she's smiling and happy. So, in a sense, this card is suggesting reaching that place where your own inner light is both protecting you and helping you to move forward despite these people in the background. So yeah, all in all, I think a very good card, the Fairy of Youth. And as I said earlier, take a moment, look at this card very carefully. There will be something in the card that speaks to you directly. And if you have trouble seeing the card via the cam, let me know. I will send you a picture of it. It's not a problem. So yeah, therein so much energy in these two readings, particularly this last one. Wow. As I stated, there's some malice and some negativity going on right now in a situation. The intuitive message that came through, this definitely involves someone from your past or someone from your present. It involves a person. This is not a thing per se. However, it is also, as I mentioned, a cumulative sort of thing of past experiences that you've gone through, decisions that you've made, and it's almost like those decisions have sort of opened the door for the potential of this status of what's going on now. Um, Still, I don't even like touching that card at this moment. There too, with your challenge card, the challenge is being aware of what's going on, not being pushed in these directions. There's all these expectations that are coming in from the outside, and they're causing some of the mindset that this person in this status card has. Like, it's all about this view of you and their view of you, and how there's a confliction there, and that's sort of adding fuel to the fire of their negativity. Moving on to your tool card, it is simply put all about, sort of closing some of those gates, being more attentive to your surroundings, who you're interacting with, being sure that people are truthful with you, that they are who they say they are. Um, that's coming through very loudly. And as I said, being willing to employ some unique measures to safeguard yourself and your life and your journey. Um, and yeah, with your potential outcome card here, I mean, the hero card, as I said, so fitting, so very true, and an easy potential for you to reach if you're willing to do that work. So, yeah, as I said, all in all, I think a very powerful and layered reading, but the potential outcome card here was really positive, so that gives me hope. Therein, as I said earlier, if you have any further questions or concerns about your reading, let me know. I certainly don't mind to look into the cards further, and see what they have to say. I have a feeling that these readings are running long, so I think I'm going to bring this to an end. I hope both of you found some meaning and purpose in your readings. I certainly wish both of you well. I will send you both, and all of you who are watching this, love and light and goodness. Yeah, thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video.